Methods and sampling. In this module, we will look at more closely at the methods and sampling used in the study. Now, we could easily skip this and move on to the findings and talk about the broader implications, but the reason we are focusing on it in detail is to help you with your own research projects that you might be thinking at the end of your course. So this gives you an idea about how to conduct a research related to languages in education. You could adapt it, you could modify it, but it gives you several research ideas for research in multilingual contexts. So we come to these methods, for instance, participant selection. We chose 16 cases. This was a case study design. It was generally a qualitative study. 16 cases were chosen from Punjab and Sindh, from 7 schools. Each case actually comprised of 2 siblings. One of the siblings was in the last year of matriculation exam, and the other sibling had to be 5 years apart, who had graduated from the same school but was like 5 years apart from older from this sibling. Both of the siblings needed to be of the same sex, so there was one case of 2 brothers, one case of 2 sisters, and and this is how it went. So you had 8 cases from the private school system, and you had 8 cases from the public school system. So the point of having these 2 siblings and the difference of 5 years between them is that we wanted to see that, number one, so once these children from the same school had moved out of the school, where were they now? So the first sibling in the school was somehow a mean or a way for us to reach out to those graduates from those schools. And you try to find out that at this point, wherever they were 5 years from their schooling, where were they and how were languages that they had learned earlier from the school were affecting them. The second thing that it helped us with was that we were looking at were the processes of language learning that these students who were still in secondary school, were they same for the older siblings, or were they any different? Has anything changed in terms of the methodology they are using or not? And we also needed to look at their own sense of their own proficiency regarding English language. So we didn't want a stark comparison between elite schools like American schools, which very few in Pakistan can afford. We wanted to look at more middle-class, approachable schools like Beacon House or City School. And then we wanted to look at public schools, not too small. So we said, all right, schools with no less than 300 students should work for us, and they needed to have a metric system and a metric class over there. So the point of departure was actually completion of secondary school. So we wanted to see, all right, these children are in the school, almost either completing secondary education or have completed secondary education. So they have given these 9-10 years to the school, learned languages. So what is the outcome? How much of the languages have they learned? Which languages have they learned? And how does it affect them? The methods that we used is in-depth ethnographic interviews. Ethnographic interviews are semi-structured, but they are in-depth in terms of you give a lot of time to the participants to talk about. You can read Spreadley 1990 regarding the conducting of ethnographic interviews. We conducted participant observation. Being in the same context, we tried to see how languages were being used and to what effect by those around us within schools and outside. And then there was documentary analysis also. We looked at the textbooks they were using, and we looked also at the examinations, but that was not our primary concern in any case. So during our interview protocol, we wanted to look at the impact of languages learned in school on some key dimensions of human development. Now, these key dimensions of human development were adapted from Elkayer 2002, and these were knowledge, life, relationships, capability to build relationships, excellent to be able to participate, enjoy, and experience creativity, control over their lives, lesser vulnerability, control over environment, participation in life, political participation in terms of being able to make informed decisions and having a voice. And then there was religion, spirituality, and inner peace. Now, not only these questions were asked, but later on they were asked, the participants were also asked to sort of put them or grade them in order of the value they ascribe to any one of them. And in this paper, we focus on knowledge and life, which were the two main foci of those who appeared in these interviews or this study. So, grounded approach to data analysis. In this, we don't use a framework beforehand, but we see what are the themes emerging from the data. A lot of rigor goes into it. We look at detailed coding, detailed transcriptions, coding, and then we look at the themes arising within the case, and then we look at themes across the cases, and then we come up with multiple matrices to come to the conclusions that we will discuss in the coming modules.